He doesn't hesitate. Not when the adrenaline surges, not when the command drops, not when the target moves. One word from you, and he launches like a missile. No doubts, no questions, and no turning back. This is the Belgian Malinois, the dog that turns hesitation into a liability. One moment, he's sitting quietly, staring through your soul. The next, he's airborne, closing 30 feet in under 2 seconds. And if you're not ready, if your body tenses even slightly, if your timing is even a hair off, that one command becomes your one regret. Because this dog doesn't make mistakes. Humans do. You don't own a Malinois. You manage a living weapon, a precision machine with a soul. It's not cute, it's not cuddly, and it's definitely not for the faint-hearted. When you say go, it means go. When you say stop, it better mean right now. Any inconsistency, and this dog will exploit it, not maliciously, but instinctively. You can't bluff a Malinois. It sees everything, your posture, your emotions, your confidence, your hesitation. And if you're unsure, it'll take the lead, because someone has to. That's the part nobody warns you about. They show you the flashy videos, the bite work, the acrobatics, the high-speed chases. But they don't show you the aftermath. The owner who gave the wrong command and watched their dog launch through a fence. The handler who underestimated just how deeply the drive runs. The family who thought they could figure it out after watching a few training clips online. The Malinois is not a project, it's a path. And once you take that first step, you're in. You're building a structure so tight, so consistent, so emotionally aware that one lapse can undo everything. These dogs don't forgive and forget. They adapt. You make a mistake and they change their playbook. And now you're behind. People say, you need to outsmart your dog. With a Malinois, that's not enough. You need to be more disciplined, more structured, more aware, because they already are. They're watching for cracks, not to challenge you, just to understand. To figure out where the gaps are in the plan. And if there's a gap, they'll fill it. With their instincts, their decisions, their action. Now imagine this. You're at the park, you've trained recall for months. You give the release word. And your Malinois, who's been watching a jogger in the distance, takes that as the signal. One command, one launch, one regret. He doesn't think, he acts. Because you gave the green light. And that's the burden no one talks about. You can have perfect structure for 364 days. And on day 365, one lazy moment becomes a headline. That's how tight your game has to be. And it's exhausting, not just physically, but emotionally. Because this dog cares, deeply. And when the bond is strong, they'll give you everything. But when it breaks, they don't rebel, they unravel. They pace, they obsess, they spiral, and they act, always. That's why your voice has to be clear. Your tone precise, your timing sharp. You're not issuing requests, you're issuing orders. To a being that's been bred for generations to react instantly and violently if needed. Think that's an exaggeration? Talk to any handler who's trained bite work. Watch their eyes when they say the word out and the dog actually lets go. That's not magic. That's repetition, timing, control, and trust. And the moment you abuse that trust, the dog stops listening. Not because it doesn't care, but because it doesn't believe you anymore. This is the tragedy of the civilian Malinois. A dog bred to protect heads of state, to launch into hostile zones, to take bullets for soldiers, now living in suburbia, with a family that doesn't understand why it never relaxes, why it destroys furniture, why it stares at them with those haunting, calculating eyes. It's not misbehavior, it's misplacement. This dog needs a mission, and if you don't give it one, it will invent one. And that's when the trouble starts. So why does the military pick the Malinois? Because they know what most civilians don't. This dog isn't trained to obey, it's trained to execute. And that's where the regret lives. Because if you give the wrong command, if your tone is off by a second, if your body says yes while your mind says no, that's all it takes. One command, one launch, one regret. If you've made it this far, maybe you're ready to learn more. Maybe you understand that owning a Malinois isn't about dominating, it's about discipline. Not about yelling louder, but leading stronger. So if you're serious about mastering the most intense breed on the planet, click the link in the description to see the tactical gear and training tools we trust. And when you're ready for the next level, watch the video we've linked in the end screen. The Malinois doesn't play, it executes. Because if you think this dog obeys you out of love, think again. It obeys because it trusts you. Break that trust, and one day you'll give a command, and wish you hadn't. And in the end, it's not about the command. It's not about the launch. It's about the moment after. When the dust settles and the adrenaline fades, what are you left with? If you trained with heart, with discipline, with trust, you're left with a partner who would have taken that leap even without the command. But if you rushed it, if you skipped the bond, ignored the warning signs, and underestimated the intensity, then one launch can become your greatest regret. Because the Belgian Malinois doesn't bluff. It doesn't hesitate. It responds to your strength or your weakness. So before you speak the next command, ask yourself, have you earned the right to be followed?